I've spoken with many guests on our show, and all of them have said that they have never seen the way economic activity has been curtailed in such a drastic fashion as a response to this virus in their lifetimes. Can you share with us where do you stand on the issue of the government deciding to shut down the economy as a response to the pandemic?
That is a really, really hard question because I really have, like probably a lot of people, very mixed feelings about it. I know that I was the first person in the office to say, I'm setting up the studio in my house. I'm not going out anymore. I'm going to protect myself. Uh, so I think on that is a really hard question for me to answer because it may not seem like, oh, 1% of people die from it or something like that. Well, if you're the one that dies or somebody that you know and love dies, then it matters a lot. I mean, my family depends on me. So to shut down the entire SWAT, I mean, the global economy, I think it is, let me say this. Okay, I think I can answer that question better because I do have mixed feelings. So I can't really answer that one directly. But what I can say is that I recently went in and looked at a lot of the documents in the Wuhan lab, and they knew that this was coming. They knew it. 100%. They knew it. And they knew that it was going to be transmitted from animals to people. And they may have even had a hand in making it much worse of a virus than it would have normally been. And at the same time, they did nothing to figure out some kind of cure or antidote, or I'm not a person for vaccines, but they didn't do anything about that. So I personally find that extremely interesting. Additionally, what I will say is that the pandemic, as a cover for a financial system reset and shutting down the global economy, they could have not gotten a better cover because there is no way on God's green earth that the general public would have tolerated another 2008 and the way that they bailed that out. So this, when you look at currency regime shifts, what you see are patterns, and I've even done videos on that. These are the things that happen all the time. And being there in 1971 as a teenager, so I wasn't fully aware of really what was happening. However, I remember thinking to myself at 17 years old, why would I even think this? But I remember thinking Social Security is not going to be there for me when I get there. I saw the upheaval with the Vietnam War, with the oil embargo. The stock market dropped 45%. You had inflation running, it's something like 45% or something crazy like that. You had women's lib. You had a lot of things that were going on during that period of time that would distract you from the real shift. And this has forced a lot of people online, which is where they were pushing us, nudging us anyway. It has definitely sped that up quite a bit. And I'll admit, for me, I'm a locavore, which means that I want to buy local if I can. If I can do it, and if it costs me a couple bucks more, I'm happy to do that because it keeps the money in the community and that enables the community to thrive. But going through this pandemic where I have not been able to go to my local stores, if I've needed something, I have gone online to see if they are, if I can buy it online and have them ship it to me. But a lot of the small mom and pops were simply not set up for that. So it has forced me to use Amazon more. And how much of a habit, for me, I know I'm going to break that habit because it kills me every time I do it. Right. But for most people that don't have that same mindset, how much of these new habits that they have that the pandemic has forced on us. How many is that going to maintain? How much more are we going to see the local banks, for example, that were really pretty instrumental in getting out those PPP loans, the payroll protection plan loans to the smaller and medium-sized businesses? I think we're going to see a lot more consolidation in a lot of areas, which gives us fewer and fewer choices. And what that means is that then they can control they get a lot more control, not just in pricing, but in what you're using, what you're seeing, etc. And that's the part that really scares the heck out of me. And I do want to add this, because for me and for everybody, if you have gold and silver that is outside of the system, then you get to retain your choices. If everything you do and everything you have is inside of the system, somebody else is choosing for you. I got news for you. And we all have to decide for ourselves, is that okay? Because they're going to make choices that are in their best interest first. We need to start making choices that is in our best interest first. That's what I'm all about. That's what my work is all about. And that's what ITM is all about.
Yeah.
I created a strategy based upon all those repeatable patterns. And so that's really what we help people do, is not just survive this, but actually thrive through it, because this is major wealth transfer.